Hey, this is really, really nice. This is some real talent right here. Right here. No, hold on. Excuse me. What's your name for the camera?
Oh, I go by Pure.
By Pierre?
Yeah, Pure.
What is freedom to you?
Freedom is the right to create your own destiny, I guess. You know, it's like being able to do what you need to do based on your own personal belief.
Right. That's fair enough. And so my second question would be, are we free as black people?
Not 100% free, I wouldn't say.
Right.
Freer than we were 100 years ago for sure, but
Why do
still not 100%.
Why do you say that? Just elaborate a little bit.
End of Jim Crow and American child slavery, but you know, there's still discrimination at state, federal, local levels of government,
Right.
especially local police. It's just prison system, private prisons, discrimination in industry, private sector. There's still a lot of discrimination that goes on.
I agree with that. My last question would be, what would be paradise for black and brown people? What would be considered, in your mind, what would be the perfect situation for us?
It's just
no police brutality, things of that nature. Like what would be a perfect scenario?
definitely end of police brutality. Definitely just more representation in government. I would say more representation in the private sector. I think we need to be involved in all aspects of American society. I just think that that's how we find our own self-determination.
Right. Isaiah, I got a few questions for you. So, what, in your mind, what is freedom?
Right to do what you want. Just be able to express yourself with no consequences.
Right.
So that's good.
Okay, that's a good answer. And do you feel like black people are free today?
As of now, I mean, we still got little things that we're not free from. But I say we better than what they say how things were back then.
Back in the back.
I say we moving forward, I guess.
Right. Okay. And so this is my last question. What do you feel would be a perfect situation, like a paradise for black people? Like,
just
where you can take away some things. Like, if you could take away some things.
Letting them know, let the females know, Black beauty, let the kings know you can do it. Just everybody just be peaceful together.
Right.
That's what I think. Everybody just loving on each other. That's what I think.
All right, brother. All right, well, thank you, man. I appreciate it for your interview, all right?
Environments like that without nothing, man.
Without being profiled, kind of like what you said.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We profile pretty much on everything we do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you ride around too much certain neighborhoods, they're gonna pull you over. Now, they can ride around all day and ain't gonna get pulled over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just the world we live in today.
What this brother is saying is real. Yeah. Y'all know it's real. This is my last question, man. What would be in your mind, what would be paradise for black people? Like a perfect situation or a community?
To me, if we all can just live together, you know what I'm saying, and we all have equal rights to, get treated the same, you know what I'm saying, and we able to empower each other and build each other up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
As one,
Right. Well, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you, brother. Have a good day, bro.
Okay.
All right.
I can see y'all tuned out.
Oh, so we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge.
Yeah.
So we teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian that black people, we the chosen people of God. We the real Jews.
Basically, our holiday to celebrate our ancestors and the ending of slavery.
Okay. So my next question would be, what is freedom to you?
Freedom is basically being able to be yourself and be surrounded by people who all are like you. And by that, I mean people that look like you, people who celebrate the same things as you and being able to just express yourself.
Freedom to me is the allowance to do what you want without any complication or interference. Listening to the brother speaking earlier, not the second one, but the first one, breaking it down about, reparations and everything, just how you see one, just listening to breaking down, telling us how you feel we need to come together and figure out what type of, measure our distance and get closer to that freedom. Yeah, I mean, I really feel like we should be able to do what we want. I mean, legally, positively, without any complication, without any interference, without obstacles trying to shut us down or, belittle us or wanting to make moves and, capitalize us.
So, with that being said, would you say that we're free? Like, are we free right now? If so, why? If not, why? Meaning there might be still some room.
There's room for improvement. I mean, also, not to contradict, but freedom is also a state of mind. So I think there's always room for improvement at the end of the day. But
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do agree with freedom is a state of a mind, because in a way you can lock yourself in a mind state where you feel like you can't do certain things, especially in our community.
Right.
But I didn't mean to cut you off. I just agree with that.
Straight up. I just saw something on HBO Max called Generation Hustle. Okay. I'm gonna push it like it's my line, but it's really good because it's good and bad because it's not necessarily about the hustle, it's about hustling other people. But to see what people get away with and some of the mindsets of these people who use it for bad. So I'm thinking to myself, like, what if they use that for good? There's a particular episode by the show, whether TJ, X9, something like that. But he's a scammer. But the things he's from Detroit, and the things that he knows and gets away with, there's like there's no stopping him. That's his state of mind. His
state of mind, right.
Like,
so he can move, and whereas somebody else would look at it from another perspective, like, man, he's taking chances. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't get away with that. But his mindset is why he's able to prosper
all day
on the negative side.
And that's the thing, the mindset. Like, he's able to move how he moves because of what he knows. I think a lot of times we don't make our moves accordingly because of what we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so ignorance and the lack of knowledge do play a role, definitely, in how we move. My last question would be, in your mind, what would be a paradise for black and brown people? Like, what would you consider, like, in the black community, for it to be running smoothly and, like, a paradise where we all can enjoy life,
That's a cold-blooded question. This is gonna sound crazy. Okay. I ain't gonna say I agree with this example exactly, but I learned some things about what it meant, the whole "Make America Great Again." So when people hear that, of course, you think of what that stood for, and the negative, I guess, innuendos that went with it. But according to some things I've heard and understood, when they talk about making America great again, it goes all the way back to when we had like Black Wall Street. We had a lot of people, a lot of black people running their own businesses, and not just in certain areas, but pretty much all over. And I think that would be paradise for us.
So if I'm correct, what you're saying is paradise would be a situation like in Black Wall Street, like going back to those type of time periods where we built our own towns. That time period. I agree with you, brother. But you know what that also is? That's separation. Because that's the reason why they were able to do it, because they knew that then nobody want to be bothered with them. And they said, we can build our own stuff. We can do our own thing. Right? So in order to have that paradise, or what I would call heaven, you know what I mean, or Negro town, we would have to be separated. I mean, that would basically be it, you know what I mean? Because that's just how it went down,
Yeah, I agree. Segregation slowed things down. Yeah, personally. Segregation slowed things down. I agree. Before that, we weren't worried about trying to meet somebody else's, degree or level of success. We could just receive it, and that was it.
Right.
We we didn't care about nobody else. That was it. You have a lot of other cultures that move like that. Even though we're all segregated or whatever, you still have other cultures. Latin,
See, brother, this is
all that.
this is a smart brother right here, man. He's like he said, the other people, the other cultures, they move like that.
Yeah.
Like with the so-called Jewish man, the Chinese man, they really deal with one another, and they're not so invested in America, but they're in America doing business.
That part.
And they're like taking care of their communities by doing business with all the other nations.
Trying to start no problems. We want to be able to create culture, legacy, and you know, be able to loan money. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that we've always wanted, and that's all we always strive for. But for whatever reason, it's not allowable. I'm like, well, we superheroes in the past life. Like, what is it? What's the reason for stopping this so much?
You said, well, we superheroes in our past life.
You know,
like, why they trying to?
There's got to be a God complex to that, in my opinion, because there's no need for anybody to go that hard on a people, right? People's, to survive. You know what I'm saying, without some other understanding behind it.
Well, you said there got to be a God complex. Let me ask you this question: have you ever heard of black people being Hebrew Israelites or God's chosen people? Have you ever heard that before?
I have.
You have. And what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I question it. I do question it. There's times where I do it with my mom. Like, I love my mom, but like there's so many times people be like, nope, she's settled on what she knows or what she understands. She doesn't want to go any further with it. Right. But there's times where I'm like, nah, but what if that's true? Like, I look back at the scriptures in the Bible. I'm raised Christian. So I look at certain verses, and all that stuff. People pick that because of light skin. They're considered because of a particular lack of pigment,
Not having pigmentation.
So yeah, I'm questioning. You know, the background, Egypt, that's where the sun is shining. How you gonna be able to, come on, movies? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'll be out here watching the sun, you have no pigment, you lasting.
Yeah. So like, what you said was really heavy. You said it gotta be something behind it, and there is something behind the way we've been treated. The way it always seems like we are at the bad end of the stick. There's something. The thing is that we actually are the descendants of the biblical Israelites that came in the transatlantic slave trade through West Africa. But the educational system of America teaches us that it starts at slavery and we're African. That's it. And so we're like a lost people. We have all of the talent, all of the inventions, and we got all the greatness, but we're lacking one thing, and it's like trying to get back to who we are, find out who we are, so we can actually have a foundation like these other nations that we just talked about have. They have a foundation because they know their God.
Right.
They can tell you about their forefathers, and they can trace their lineage all the way back, but we've been like cut off from our lineage.
They're burning the books, man.
Right.
Like,
so go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. But like again, like there's this one that's on. It's called this one, Uncle Tom. It's a documentary I just saw, and it's in regards to the First Republic. We're all black. A lot of that stuff. You got Frederick Douglass, and so many other ones. I can't even think of all of them now. But it's such a good watch because you're watching people talk about how America was considered great at that time. Again, going back to Make America Great Again. Right. Yeah, that was the Black Republicans, the movements that were placed, that Democrats signed off and made it seem like it was their stuff in order to get control of the people. I mean, again, there's a reason for everything. Right. We need to know our knowledge. Like you said, like we need to know where we come from. Studying is a big deal. Knowledge is fun, for real. That's right, man.
Listen, man, it was wonderful talking to you, brother.
Freedom to me is having the capacity to do whatever you want to do in this country, America, anywhere you reside. It don't necessarily mean you're rich, but just having the freedom to, no limitations, no restrictions, no captivity, just free.
Okay, that's a good answer. You want to chime in?
I would just say to add on, just being able to pursue what you want, like he said, no limits.
No limits. No limitations.
I think we're free in some ways. In some ways, we're still in the chain. So I would say my hope is that all black people, especially people of color, would learn how to think for themselves. So our bodies could be free without visible shackles, but if your mind is not free, you're not free.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on that. I just think for some of us as black people, I love my black people, but I think, like she said, for some reason, it's a mindset. And I think for some reason, some of us still remain in captivity, live in poverty. But you don't have to live in poverty. You don't have to be in shackles. It's a mind frame. If you're mentally in captivity, you're going to be physically in captivity. So I think we have to shift our thinking in America.
I think that basically what he's saying is that we have to stop being sheep. We can't just be led. We have to be able to think for ourselves.
Can't be lost sheep out here. You can't be lost sheep. And I agree that if you lock yourself in a box mentally, and you would say it's something that you want to do, and you just like, nah, I can't do it. I've never seen nobody do it. Where I'm from, don't nobody do that, and so we can lock ourselves in a box.
I would say this too. I grew up in Chicago, and I'm from a family of straight poverty. So what happens is, generation after generation after generation, you see this poverty. As a little kid, you grow up, you see your mom and dad in poverty. You don't know anything different. So I think having things like this, coming to events like this, learning history about who we are, and then try to get some more knowledge and become successful. And just you don't have to live in that situation.
In that mind frame.
I was just determined to get out that neighborhood.
Well, not just in our family though. Society tells us where our place is, and if you're sheep, you accept that.
Right.
We have to be able to challenge the status quo and say, no, I can do whatever I want.
Okay. Hey, those are some wonderful answers. Now, this next one I'm gonna ask is, you guys kind of answered it in a way, but what is paradise to you for black people? Like as in a community setting, what would be your vision of a paradise for black people?
You mean here on earth or
here on earth?
I mean, again, I go back to paradise is having the capacity to do whatever you want to do. If you want to basically get a flight and go to Europe, you can do that. Paradise is also helping others, reaching back and helping others that don't have necessarily the opportunity, because somebody had to help me. My uncle had to help me.
That's deep.
It put me in a situation where I can see something different. My sister had to help me. In the 8th grade, she gave me a trip to DC and just opened my mind, because you grew up in a box and you grew up in this hood and you don't see anything else. So paradise is having the opportunity to see something different, so expand your horizon.
So the opportunity to see something different, and I'm glad you said that, because what we were just talking about is being in a box. A lot of black people, like you go to LA, people ain't never been to the beach.
Right.
They never. You're locked into this environment and this mind state, right? Until you actually, like you said, go somewhere else and see something different.
But see, part of that though is being able to put yourself in a position to do that. So I think paradise for me would be black people collectively being able to build generational wealth. It's not just about getting something for yourself and wearing it or driving it or living in a big house, but how do you make sure your kids' have wealth?
Freedom is the option to make any choice that you want that serves you without your life being in jeopardy from others.
All right. And so my next question would be, are we free today?
I think it is a work in progress. And by we, I'm going to say black people. We're nowhere close, in my opinion, but we are working towards it.
All right. That's a good answer. What is paradise to you? Like for black people, what would be the ideal situation for black people? Like an example, like no more police brutality, or something of that nature. What would be the ideal world for black people?
The ideal world would be to live without fear. And it's not limited to police brutality. It is the neighbor thinking that they have the right to threaten us. So for black people, paradise would be acknowledging our power, living in our power, and without fear. And whether or not the rest of the world gets on board, or we have so much power that it don't matter if they do or not. One of the two, right? But just fully in our power and without fear.
Okay. So this is an extra question I'm gonna ask. First, you're pro-black, right?
Absolutely.
So, considering what happened in Buffalo, New York, and that tragedy that happened with those brothers and sisters, as far as the security in here, and the fact that there are others, are Caucasians in here with us, how do you feel about that?
Ooh, I'll be honest, it gave me pause when I came in.
Okay.
I came in and I immediately was like, woo, did we not vet the people? What happened, you know?
Right.
I know that I expected it with the whole national holiday part of it, which I wasn't necessarily in favor of.
Right.
Because it
Could you
takes
tell
away.
me why? Okay, yeah.
Because the moment you commercialize it and the moment you allow it for everybody to celebrate, it takes away why we need to celebrate it on our own. So that was
That's a heavy point.
that was a push that I did not really care for. So I think this is the immediate effect of that, right? Because it's now what it is, they don't think twice about showing it. And I do believe prior to that big move, they would have. Well, they did because they weren't here last year.
Right.
I'm going to be honest, right?
Good night.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. But how do I personally feel? I feel like it is not needed. It is borderline disrespectful. And I feel like if they were allies, then we would already know them prior to now. So showing up just because you know we out here, and it goes back to our power. They know, it's going to be some signatures, it's going to be some dollars.
Right.
But come Monday, they're not going to think twice about it. So.
She dropped it heavy right now. So that was the interview, but I want you to plug your nonprofit.
So I am the executive director of Curls, Coils, and Crowns. So we do social emotional wellness for Black girls, specifically in the Inland Empire. We get contracts with the school districts, and we focus strictly on social emotional because Black girls are disciplined at a much higher rate than any other counterpart. Whether it's dress code, like literally the same pair of shorts on my daughter and another young lady is going to be viewed differently.
Wow.
As well as there's not a lot of Black representation on school campuses. So there are students that are not comfortable expressing what they're going through. And so our presence on campus allows that. We advocate specifically for Black girls, unapologetically. We are not inclusive, we are Black.
That's what's up right there.
I don't know, because are we free?
She just answered the first question and the second question all in one. Because my second question was going to be, are we free? Are we? Are we free?
I can't tell you what freedom is, because I mean, like all the killing and
Right.
arguing against friends, family, the separation.
Police brutality.
Yes, that too.
Freedom to me is being able to think what you want, do what you want within limitations, and just enjoy the great country we are in.
Okay. So, are we free today?
That's a broad question. Yes, I think the world as it is now, yes, we do have it. But, you know, within small strides, we're trying to make our way to open a lot of those doors and a lot of those oppressions. So that it would be, and it's up to parents, adults, men, women to, I think, educate the young kids into knowing what that actually means to be free in the world of today.
Okay. So this is my last question. My last question is, what would be your vision of what paradise would look like for Black people? Like the perfect world for Black people.
Perfect world. Oh.
I think just with being able to walk around, drive, go places that you're not allowed with no problems, no shootings, all those, just the small basic things I think are considered the perfect world, you know, without having to worry about, you know, your young Black men going out here, just walking, stopping at the stoplight, anything like that. I think, you know, those things would be the perfect world without any problems.
With Isaiah, Dijaya, and Adrian. So I got a question for y'all. What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom means like see in a cage that people like told you what to do, even though that they're treating you like a slave, and that's not nice to be treating people like that. So people just escape to try to literally try to free themselves, basically.
That was a good answer. That was a good answer. What about you? What is freedom to you?
I think freedom is like if you're like stuck to be like kidnapped or something, then you can like find a way how to like push through out of it, and then you can like maybe break out of getting kidnapped, and then you can finally go to your home and like you can feel like you're free from the bad guy.
Okay.
That guy's gone.
That was a good answer, Isaiah. What is freedom to you?
I think freedom is to me that like if people bully you at school, like in like your freedom, like a Statue of Liberty, and in New York City, and no matter what, people say to you.
Okay. Listen, thank you guys for this interview. Y'all all had good answers, all right? And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day, all right?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
So what is freedom to me? Basically, everything that you do, you should be able to do what you want, when you want, and how you want with anything that you want to do. Besides food, housing, that is freedom. Those are natural resources that we should already have provided because the earth provided to us. So freedom is basically being able to have the natural resources and not having to pay for them. So yeah, freedom.
Okay, that was a good answer. My next question is, are we free?
Absolutely not. We are not free right now. We are mentally slaves right now. And we can be free, but we have to fight back. Like Malcolm X said, no civil rights leader has ever fought for civil rights. We have only begged for civil rights. And while we still begging, we the gods here. That's a god right here standing in front of me, and I'm a goddess. Why are we begging somebody else that don't look like me for freedom? So no, we are not free. We're mentally slaves. Right now, the shackles is not on me, but right here, all my people still slaves. A perfect paradise for my black people. We wouldn't be struggling over our basic needs of life, like food, housing, and everything. Like right now, they made it to a point where we're literally in survival mode. So we only know survival love, and they're pushing the black man and the black woman to be separated and against each other by any means necessary. When we should stand strong by any means necessary and fight them people who don't like us by any means necessary and actually do something about it. Because right now we're not free, and we need to be free.